So the situation in Zimbabwe may seem like nothing really happened on the surface, but make no mistake, the political crisis is far from over. And my advice to those in ZANU-PF is simple. Refrain from making public comments on social media, especially factionally reckless comments. And I see many people mocking Geza and calling him a loser. Maybe let me start by asking this question. Do you remember the booing and the shaming that Mnangagwa endured a week before he did a coup on Robert Mugabe? And Grace Mugabe was even confident that nobody would ever imagine the almighty Bob to fall off his high horse.
The issue yoyekuti hanzi munorongana motorana nemasoja kunobomba, it will not work. It will actually work against you.
Now, in politics and statecraft, friends and enemies are more or less the same. The coming weeks will be volatile, and we may soon witness one of the worst political crises in our nation's history. And this I say from a good place of knowledge and intel. Now, just like any other day, let me revisit what Blessed Geza, Comrade Bombshell, said on Monday night, the 31st of March 2025. And maybe let me show it on the screen.
This is the beginning of a series of events to send you back, and we want to assure you that he is going in the shortest possible time.
Now, you notice that there is an urgency in his tone. Geza goes on to warn the police about their brutality, and he says,
momentum ought to be maintained. We have observed police barbaric actions against innocent and peaceful protesters. We have observed that Emerson is using the police to instill gross fear in the public instead of engagement or, better still, just resigning.
Now, such bold claims, these dramatic statements are designed not only to rally the masses, but also to expose the deep-seated fear and desperation within the regime. Geza managed to scare the public and also to dominate social media trends. He forced the nation to have a conversation about Zimbabwe's future. I mean, what else can you ask for? I mean, when last did we have an opposition that actually tables matters that matter? Now, here's why people must not underestimate what's happening in Zimbabwe. Now, Geza's address wasn't just a call for protest. It was a calculated move to stir an unrest and also to expose the regime's vulnerability. I mean, you saw that the regime is not that hard to go against. I mean, it is hard, but I mean, it's not that hard. Some vulnerabilities were shown. For context, Zimbabwe last had a protest on January 14th, 2019. Obviously, when they had a 130% increase of price of fuel. Now, you have to understand that this is like 2,269, somewhere thereabout, days of no protest, despite the gold mafia scandal, the COVID-19 funds, corruption, and even the stolen election. No one took to the streets. Geza knew that 31st March was not the day for revolution, but the day to cultivate the spirit of resistance against the corrupt rule of Mnangagwa. Now, his words, Emerson's days in office are numbered, and the claim that the police used to instill gross fear are not just statements. These are a mirror held up to the corruption and brutality at the heart of Zimbabwean politics.
Open your eyes. Emerson and his Gananda, led by Dagurei, you have to go.
Even as the protest was called off, citing intelligence of an explosive plot allegedly done by Sean Mnangagwa, the fact still remains that Zimbabweans are waking up to a dangerous reality. The regime's tactics of blocking peaceful protests and also using the police to suppress constitutional rights reveal that the fear of military takeover is real. And when the public is so intimidated that the shops close and the streets empty, it's a sign that this might be a state in a crisis. Now, did you know that there are two types of peace, positive and negative peace? Zimbabwe has the latter. So imagine if people finally are given the opportunity to protest. the amount of resentment and hate towards the government is scary to even imagine. Now, something that is interesting is that after Geza mentioned the plot to elevate Kudatagwire to the executive, ZANU-PF provincial executives from Harare and Masvingo have endorsed him to sit in the Central Committee. Do you smell something fishy here? Now, Kudatagwire once known for his style of table manners and also reserved demeanor. I give it to him, let's be fair. Kudatagwire is not a lousy mouth like the other Mbingas. I mean, the other Mbingas who have gained so much weight eating our monies. Now, recently, he was endorsed to a top leadership position within ZANU-PF. Now, Tagwire is now being touted as a future presidential contender. I mean, Tagwire is more like an oligarch behind the face of the president, I say. Like, you know, Zua Petroleum, the company that supplies fuel. Now, this act isn't just symbolic, it's a declaration of intent. Political fractures, rising tensions and growing resistance against Mnangagwa's rule. Whether or not Geza succeeds in his goal, or we can call it an ultimate goal, one thing is clear: Zimbabweans are no longer passive. The events of March 2031 were not about a protest, but about sending a message that the people are watching and they're willing to act. And the strategic moves within ZANU-PF, from Tagwire's elevation to Sanyatu's reappointment, also are showing us that there are internal shifts and possible succession battles. Meanwhile, we see the opposition, whether led by Geza or Nelson Chamisa, are proving that the spirit of defiance are real and alive. So in the next few weeks, politics in Zimbabwe is going to be crucial. Will Mnangagwa tighten his grip, or will the cracks in his power become too large to ignore? As Zimbabwe's political landscape continues, obviously we need to be certain, are we witnessing the beginning of a new chapter, or we are going to stay in this sad state of people wanting to leave the country every now and then? Now tell me what you think in the comment section, because it looks like we are about to meet the biggest of succession battles. Till next time.